You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop.
Good evening and welcome to the Sporting Time Show. I'm Doug Thompson. Alongside me, well, an old face now.
Yeah, it's good to see you again.
Brandon Phillips, and welcome in everybody. It is beginning to feel a lot like fall, right?
I thought you were going to say look a lot like Christmas, and do you know the revolt that occurs when you start to celebrate the holidays too early? We're not even past Halloween, but you didn't say that, so that's good.
But let me tell you something. I was in a home improvement store 2 weeks ago, and they've got their Christmas trees up.
It's out.
It's out there, and it drives me crazy.
Even this year, if ever there were a year to spread Christmas jolly and joy, or the holiday season, whatever it is that you're into at this time of year, this would be the year to do it.
But you can't even enjoy Halloween yet because they've got Christmas all over the place, and I love Christmas, don't get me wrong, especially now I've got a couple of grandbabies. But let's kind of take it easy.
Is this a financial thing? Now that you've got the grandkids and you're starting to think about all the money you're going to have to spend for Christmas?
Well, no, honestly, and you know this better than anybody, you've got two boys that are older, but the older they get, the more it costs. You can get a toddler a Hot Reel for $1, right? So I'm all good about that. But enough about Christmas and Halloween. Let's talk about a little high school sports. And Brandon, you and I talk a lot about football, which we will in the final segment. But we do want to kind of bring everybody up to date on soccer.
That's right.
District soccer has concluded. And next week's show, we will bring you all the updates for the region soccer. But some of those games have happened as well. But I'm going to let you go ahead and handle district soccer on the boys' side.
Okay, so let's talk district. So 13th district, Franklin Simpson, 8-2 win over Russellville. 14th district, Warren Central, 1-0 over South Warren, which is
big game.
Good matchups. 14th district, always a tight district, a good team sometimes, and that 3 slot's going to go home and not even have a chance to go to the region. 15th district, Glasgow, 3-2 over Barron County, and 16th district, Monroe County, another 1-0 over Russell County. And so the thing you start to see in district, Doug, is sometimes it's 1-0, sometimes it's 8-2. You never know; just depends on how it falls.
That's right. Depending on who you're gonna play.
Yeah, should we hit the region a little bit?
Go ahead, hit the region.
So 16th district, of course, Monroe County, Russell County came over. Didn't fare as well in the region. You know, South Warren defeats Monroe 11-0.
Yeah.
So again, just really tough district that South Warren comes out of and get an 11-0 win early. Barron County defeats Franklin Simpson 1-0. Again, we've got the 11-0, we've got the 1-0.
Right.
You see it all over the board.
Yes.
Warren Central defeats Russellville 10-0, and Glasgow defeats Russell County 8-0. So when you start looking at your region matchups outside of your Barron Franklin Simpson, which is 1-0, and again, when you think about that too, Franklin Simpson was a district champ, going down 1-0. But the rest of these games have been pretty lopsided, but I would expect that to change now.
It's tough because really the gold standard is the 14th district and boys and girls soccer. On the girls side, in the 13th district, Logan County defeats Franklin Simpson 3-0. 14th district, Greenwood defeats Bowling Green 2-1. 15th district, winner Barron County defeats Glasgow 2-1. And then Brandon in the 16th district, Monroe County defeats Russell County 1-0. In girls region soccer, Greenwood 18, Russell County 0.
There you go.
Barron County defeats Franklin Simpson 6-2. They move on. Bowling Green defeats Logan County 6-0. And then Glasgow defeats Monroe County 4-1. They move on. Now I've got a stat for you.
Can't wait.
In girls region soccer, over the past 20 years, what have been the 2 teams that have been in the finals?
Well,
in
Greenwood,
the past 20 years.
Greenwood.
Yes.
Always there.
And
I'd assume Bowling Green.
Very good.
Yeah.
You win.
That's
you
right.
win the prize. Now, over the past 20 years, there's only been 2 years that the score has been in excess of 2 goals, win margin, right? That was 2008, 2009. One was a 4-goal difference, and the other goal was a 3-goal difference. So the past 20 years, it's always been Greenwood. It's always been Bowling Green. This year, it's the tiebreaker. Bowling Green has won 10. Greenwood has won 10. this year is a tiebreaker, Brandon.
Those are Patrick-like stats for those that listen to your radio show. That's big time.
It's amazing. And the fact that these two teams, it comes down to
I
this
saw
year.
it last year. I actually was at that region final
Yeah.
last year, and you think about it because Greenwood went on to win a state title, and Bowling Green gave them a really good match. And again, it's as you start advancing in these playoffs, it's very rare that you're going to see anything more than a 1 to 2 goal game.
Yeah, well, it's going to happen again, and we don't want to put them in the finals too quickly, but as history has stated, they usually are there. When we come back, Coach Brad Hood joins us right here on the show. Stay tuned. More of the Sporting Times right here on WNKY. Welcome back. Joining me right now is the head coach of the Allen County Scottsville Patriots, Brad Hood. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Good to be here. It's been a while. I thought you was holding out on me, but we're winning again. So,
oh, no.
So, hey,
Listen,
let's call Coach Hood. They're pretty good this year.
It's a ratings thing. I mean, every time you're on the show, the ratings just go through the roof.
It's this pretty face.
It is. I mean, you can't. But we did
I'm
miss
a people
it.
person.
You are a people. You
person.
are. You are. And I've got some stories about that. But we missed it. I should have had you on next week's show because it would be our Halloween show.
That would have been a good one.
And then, you could have masked up.
I could have. I got a few costumes in town. I got it.
I've seen your anger costume.
I used that this weekend. This past Friday night, I got to use it. Used it a lot right before halftime.
Oh, my gosh. Well, one of these days we're going to do a Coach Hood Unplugged.
Oh.
But we'll save that for the playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But it is really great to have you on the show. And honestly, you and I spoke this summer a couple of times, and we talked about the COVID thing and if we were going to have a season or not. And we weren't sure, to be honest. We were not sure if we were going to see high school football. But thankfully, and I know that you really wanted it for your seniors this year, and it's a good thing that we are.
Yeah, it's been crazy. You couldn't have wrote this out, Doug, with the things that we're experiencing, what our kids are going through, and I could only imagine when I was back in high school, many years ago, how that would have affected me. But I think it was important that we fought as hard as we could fight to at least try to get it. And that was always my cause. It wasn't play at all costs. It wasn't, but I felt like we owed it to the kids to give them every possible opportunity to do so. And luckily, we've only played 4 games, and it's mid-October, but we are playing football, and there's a plan, and the plan has had some hiccups, but it's working, and I'm not to say that it's not been the most stressful thing I've ever been a part of, but school's stressful, life right now is stressful. But I just feel like for our society, our kids need this, and I know my kids at home, they need normal, and I got tired of hearing the new normal. We got to figure out, let's get normal. And playing football on Friday nights is normal. And so it's not what it's always looked like, but it's football, and our kids are doing a good job, and I'm glad we're still going.
You mentioned your kids are doing a good job, and I don't want to just kind of gloss over that because they're doing a great job. These high school athletes that we're around, whether it's cross country, whatever it is, they are really taking this to heart because they want to play.
Right. Well, it's like the old Frank Martin, South Carolina basketball coach, who I love. I just, a few years ago, he went on this tirade about how kids, it's not the kids. It's not, people want to say this generation of kids is soft or they're babied or this generation of kids is tough. And they're proving it every single day. Now, how we treat them, like he said, is a lot. But I'm telling you, they have done, I couldn't be more proud of my kids, our school, our athletes. Coach Harwood's a great leader for us, our AD. He's given us plans to go by. And I know the kids get tired of hearing me stay 6 feet apart, get tired of hearing me keep your mask on, but they want to play ball. Knock on wood, this hasn't come in our programs.
Right.
And not to say that it couldn't tomorrow. And I believe the reason our kids aren't going out and putting themselves into more, bad situations by doing it. They're trying to be smart. And so anytime anybody talks about kids of this generation, man, it makes me mad. Kids in this generation are tough. Now, are they different than we was? Do they have different?
Sure.
Yeah. We treat them different.
Yeah.
Their parents and my parents, they're different. I treat my kids differently than my parents did. But the kids themselves are tough, and their heart is there. And man, I'm so proud of the dedication my 71 has showed. And just not mine, but our volleyball team, our soccer team, all of our sports at Allen County, and how well they've done and how many people have stood up and fought for them.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And one of the things that I know we'll talk about in the next block is Friday night football for areas like Allen County, Scottsville, Monroe County, Franklin Simpson. I mean, those are big. Those are so important to have sports going on. And in the next block, you and I are going to talk more about that. But first, we need to take a short break. More of the Sporting Time Show right here on WNKY NBC 40. We'll be right back. Welcome back again. Our guest today is the head coach of Allen County Scottsville Patriots, Coach Brad Hood. Coach, you and I talked a little bit in the first block about COVID and its effect and how the players are doing and how the community is doing. But let's talk a little bit about your team specifically. These Patriots, you're having a really good season. One of the things that I noticed it's a very balanced team. You're actually throwing it in the air, which would you say 5 years ago would have been unheard?
Yeah, it's about 5 years ago.
7 years?
We met. Yeah, 7 years ago we didn't like to throw it all. 5 years ago, this kid named Chase Wilson come in. We chucked it a little bit with him.
Yes, you did.
But yeah, I mean we've got a good running attack, and we feel like we got some good kids catching the ball. We got an experienced quarterback, and Trace and Jax, Landon, Dylan, and then we feel like we've got a good offensive line led by two senior tackles with Tucker Tracy and Caden Whitney, and then a mixture of other guys that we feel like we can do a lot of different things, and so we do it.
You were obviously younger last year, but you cut your rushing yards allowed this year in half from last year, in passing almost the same amount. Kind of talk about the development of the defense and how they can improve so much in that year's time.
Well, I tell you what, I feel like we've got one of the best defensive lines I've ever had.
That says a lot.
Dylan Rookstall, Julia McPeak, Brandon Baxter, are just killing it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very physical, they're very strong, and then we got a couple other guys that roll in and roll out. We've got a good, solid linebacker core led by Will Moore, who's a junior, and Cody Miller, who's a senior that has just kind of been waiting for his time, and he finally got it, and he's running with it. And I feel good. We got some athletes in the defensive backfield. Tanner Stinson through 4 games, our junior corner, already has 4 interceptions. Nick Cooper, who's out right now with injury, had come back to us, and then Landon Witcher, who is a headhunter at safety. So our defense, the physicality of our defense is helping us a lot of ways. And the aggressiveness style that we're playing, our turnover ratio right now is huge compared to what it's been in the past. And anytime you're causing turnovers and not giving up too many turnovers, you got a chance to do good things. And so that's what our team's doing right now. We're taking advantage of the opportunities that we keep giving each other. And I think our defense rallies off of it. And I know our offense is rallying off of it when we do that.
I've mentioned this to you before, but I think in 2005 we did a front cover of the Sporting Times where we had the coaches playing a card game. I don't know if I should say it on air, but you were playing cards, and you actually weren't. We kind of superimposed.
Was that before me?
No, that was you, and you are the only one
that's still around.
That is still that was around that card table, and John Pettit, which
he's back.
Upcoming game, he's back. But how does it feel to kind of go from being the young head coach to now being one of the senior guys out there in the conference?
Well, I still enjoy it the way I do, and we've talked about that a lot. I'm fortunate. I'm in a town that that I enjoy, a town that loves me for the most part, you know, but, you know, my wife's family's from there, my family's from there, my mom's still there, my grandma's still there, my kids are going to school there, and they're both doing really well in school, and you know, I grew up there until I was 10, 11 years old, but you know, we've built a life there, and Allen County and Scottsville is as big a part of my house as anything around. You know, it don't take long to walk through it to know where we live, to know where we're from. You know, and we've made our home there. And I tell you, Doug, and it's still a lot to do with this too. The kids we have, you know, we don't have the greatest athlete, but I still feel like year after year basis, I get 100% out of the kids that play for me.
Yes.
And we have great numbers compared to most county schools around us. We always have 70 to 90 on our teams. We run 3 classes of football, freshman, JV, and varsity.
That's so important.
And, you know, when I got there, there was 20-something kids on the team. And you know, and that's so it's been good for me. I've grown up, and I've got to be fortunate to see that program grow up, and I guess I'm just too stubborn to walk away, and that's the reason I've been there 15 years.
Well, Coach, I've seen you coach. I've been at your practices before. I've certainly been at your games, and you get 100% out of those kids
My
because
kids play hard.
you give them 100% of yourself. But look forward to seeing many, many more years. Hopefully when Cannon is playing for you, you'll still be. But, Coach, thank you very much for joining me today. Good luck the rest of the season.
Doug, I appreciate it as always, and I appreciate what you guys do for high school football in this area.
Coming up, Brandon Phillips joins us as we wrap things up right here on WNKY. Welcome back, Brandon. Coach Hood always brings it.
He always delivers.
He always delivers. He's very passionate, and it's great to have him on as a guest. Now, I did mention Cannon because we were talking about Cannon being the oldest, but we want to say hello to Cruz real quick because he's the younger Hood. But Cruz, hello to you, and thanks for letting your dad come on the show. Now, one of the new things that we're doing on the show is Who's Hot, and we're going to talk about high school football. And we're going to start off with 1A, then jump to 3A. Okay. And then I'll do 4A and 5A. So, Brandon, who's hot in 1A?
I'm so glad that you asked. Who's hot in 1A? Well, how about the Russellville Panthers? They've won 3 of their last 4 games. They're in a really good position to finish the season strong. As we know, about every couple of years, Russellville finds a way to put it together. They're never void of talent, just short on numbers and depth. But when they're in the right mode and they're moving forward, they do really well. And this year they're very hot, and they're on there this week. Also coming in 3A, the Glasgow Scotties, in position to probably win their last 3 games of the season. They will be favored in those 3 games. And, of course, they've been rolling in this awkward up and down year. But as far as who's hot in 1A, let's go with the Russellville Panthers, and 3A, the Glasgow Scotties.
How about 4A? How about the Allen County Scottsville Patriots at number 10? They're ranked number 10 in the state. They've won 3 straight games. Of course, we don't have their game currently going on because we taped the show before that, but they could sweep the last 2, or they could be 1-1.
Yeah.
We don't know that. We don't have a crystal ball, but they have a really good team. And then at number 8, Russell County, they have won 4 straight games, and they could sweep their last 2 games. Or they could split it.
Well, and 2 things I would comment there when you talk about Allen County, Scottsville. When you look at that district historically, whoever comes out of that district has a really good opportunity to advance down the line in the state tournament. Obviously, Franklin Simpson has won a couple of state finals not that long ago, so that bodes very well for Allen County. And of course, I would be remiss if not calling Russell County the Loch Ness Monster of the 4th region, because they're so far away, we don't get to hear or see much about them. So I'm glad that you make sure to give them shout-outs and keep them a part of the show. And, of course, somehow in every sport, it seems like at the end of the year they show up.
They're having a great season this year.
The Lakers are always there.
That is so true. In 5A, Brandon, how about 3 top 10 teams in our area right here? And we're going to start out with number 9, Greenwood Gators. They started the season 5-0. They are currently 5-2. They could sweep the last 2 games, or they could go 1-1. I think they're going to win one of those 2, or they could win both of them. At the second best team in 5A in our area is the South Warren Spartans. Even though they're undefeated at 5-0, they're ranked number 4 in the state. They have one game remaining against the unbeaten North Hardin Trojans. My prediction is the Spartans will spoil that undefeated season, and they will go on to win that game. They have got an incredibly tough defense. And then at number 3 in the state, the Bowling Green Purples, they are 5-1 on the season with one game remaining. They have to face Trinity. And as much as I want the Purples to win this game, it is going to be tough.
Yeah, I think come playoff time, Bowling Green has definitely been tested. You know, as much as anybody in this area, they've played a very difficult schedule. The one thing I think that you look at with South Warren is when you start to get into these games late in the year where it's power versus power, strong teams competing against each other, is the quarterback position. And Veltkamp is a difference maker, I think, for South Warren. When you have a legitimate Division I talent back there, his football does not hit the ground much.
Well, and speaking of Veltkamp, I'm going to go ahead and jump to our players of the week.
You up. I wonder if you catch that. Speaking of the ball not hitting the ground.
It's going to be our junior quarterback at South Warren High School, 6'5", Caden Veltkamp. Had a great week against Greenwood, 18 for 32 passes for 251 yards, 1 pick, but 3 touchdowns for the season. And this is 4 games, is 68 for 109, 900-plus yards for Mr. Veltkamp, 9 TDs and just 2 interceptions. He averages about 225 yards per game. We got about a minute left. Brandon, hit us with our defensive player.
As much as I appreciate your offense, defense wins championships, and we're going to stay at South Warren for junior defensive lineman number 50, Jake Jackson. 10 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss for the season, Doug, in 4 games. 31 tackles, 10 tackles for a loss. I'm not sure what the prize is and what you're going to give these young men for being players of the week, but I'm excited to find out, as I'm sure are they.
We're going to give them a pat on the back and a big WNKY. Thank you very much. Absolutely. It's great to see a defensive lineman get the player of the week, but Brandon, we've got some football left this season, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Everybody stay healthy, because that is
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
You got to keep it
Crown
going.
State champs.
Let's do it. And we're going to have a lot of fun watching it. And again, we'll bring cross-country region updates to you next week. Also, volleyball district and region updates to you as well. But keep it right here where local matters. WNKY NBC 40 for Doug Thompson.
Brandon Phillips.
We'll see you next week.